So the ultimate goal, whenever you are creating pillars, is that people can reference you quickly. So if in general, if someone's like, oh, why should I follow her? Why should I follow her? You want the quick response to be, oh, she shares the best 30-minute recipes, or she gives the best tactical and inspirational business tips. So knowing that the more you can consistently create around a particular topic, you're going to be seen as an authority. You're going to be able to define what your expertise is. But the most important piece, especially as being a business owner or someone who is wanting to turn their content creation into a business at some point, is that they trust you. Being limitless is knowing your success and your growth are built on a radical belief in yourself. Limitless is honoring your purpose, your health, and impact above all else. Limitless is never playing small, because the more alive you feel in your life, the more growth and success you attract. Hi, my name is Jamie Ratterman, and I am a holistic business coach, meaning I am just as invested in growing your health as I am in growing your wealth. With 11 plus years in brand and social media marketing, I help rebellious entrepreneurs master marketing, embody leadership, and say fuck it to the hustle. This show is here to encourage you to become more radically aware of your self-imposed limits, to break free of your shoulds, and to expand your brand into a movement led by you. Hi, lovelies. Welcome to another episode of the Limitless Podcast. Today, I want to continue that conversation around how to build that foundation for your content strategy. And we're going to talk about content pillars, but I'm feeling kind of the juice about this topic because I'm getting into that third week of marketing mastery where everyone gets to really know each other. So we usually start talking about your brand story, and everyone gets to practice talking about their brand story with each other and how to really kind of get confident about the way they show up. So it's going so well. Everyone's really being able to connect with each other. We just went through the mindset module and being able to understand that everyone is human and understands that these things I'm about to share about content pillars, putting yourself out there, all of us have a little bit of doubt at first. All of us really gear ourselves up to get going. So I always get reminded of this, and maybe it's just lovely that I get to do marketing mastery a few times a year, that I forget about that initial push, that initial stage, because I've been doing this for a while. But getting to watch my clients kind of start to see it in each other, it just makes me love entrepreneurship more. So I think I feel like I could get it tattooed on my chest. Entrepreneurship is fantastic for those who want it, but it's just being able to know that the more we can connect and relate to each other is fantastic. So marketing mastery recently, in general, has been something that has been just like filling me with that purpose that to continue. And I just wanted to share as we dive into content pillars. So if you listen to, I believe, episode 2, and I recently did an episode on brand story, you're going to know who your ideal client is. You're going to have some clarity about what your brand is about. But once we really have this really great understanding of those two key areas, you want to start to develop your brand content pillar. So for many of you who've listened to social media people, Instagram experts, all of these things have heard these terms used before, your content pillars. But really what they are categories with which you want to be known for. So if you are somebody who is trying to understand, like, what do I want people to come to me for? Content pillars are your way to go. If you're trying to figure out how you can cut your corner out of the internet, having content pillars is what you want to really define and understand. So by defining these topics, you are creating notoriety to not only be trusted by your followers or potential leads, but also to be inspired to create often around your brand, which is an absolute essential piece. So the ultimate goal, whenever you are creating pillars, is that people can reference you quickly. So if in general, if someone's like, oh, why should I follow her? Why should I follow her? You want the quick response to be, oh, she shares the best 30-minute recipes, or she gives the best tactical and inspirational business tips. So knowing that the more you can consistently create around a particular topic, you're going to be seen as an authority. You're going to be able to define what your expertise is. But the most important piece, especially as being a business owner or someone who is wanting to turn their content creation into a business at some point, is that they trust you. Trust is the pathway to sales. Always, always, always. So this is that opportunity. So one thing to know is that while I'll reference social media on here, this applies to all marketing channels. Content pillars are something that you want to have repeated not only in your Instagram posts and your Instagram content, but also in your email newsletters, also on your website and in your blogs. So knowing that once you choose these pillars, they're across the board for you. They're something that you get to continue to use. So I want you to think of content pillars in two ways. These are the topics that your audience can quickly and clearly reference, like I mentioned, as your expertise in the kind of topics that they come to you for, but they're also going to be things that you love to talk about. So one important note right here, right now, is that if you currently have content pillars that you do not enjoy posting about, change them. It's time to change them. It's usually I will have a client that will fall into two camps. They'll either go ham where they are only focused on the ideal client. They're like, okay, this makes sense. This topic makes sense for the ideal client. This makes sense to sell. This makes sense to build a business off of. They're only focused on the ideal client, and then they tend to get into like, well, I can't share anything about myself, or this doesn't really make sense for her, so I can't post about it, even though it's something I want to share. They'll get into that back and forth. Or I have the other end of the spectrum where there is somebody who is just posting what they like when they like to, and not really thinking about how it relates to the people that they're trying to call in. So keeping these things in mind, having both of those things in step with each other is important. But the biggest part of this is that content creation is an energy exchange. So if you are building any business, you want to make sure that that content you create energizes you in some way. That is our goal. So content pillars are that step one in ensuring that your brand is known to be an authority and can solve the challenges of your ideal clients. It also allows you to be more visible so that you can build natural trust within your audience. And of course, that's going to later turn into sales. So let me kind of run you through what I would give as a potential content pillars for a particular client. So let's say we are working with a fitness trainer. So one of her content pillars could be parts of a strength training program. Now, this is a way in which she could showcase a 15-minute HIIT workout. So being able to mention specifically how to work a particular muscle group, or it could also be her just giving a breakdown of why you should never sleep on the squat because it's one of the best functional movements. So of course, this pillar would make reference of her expertise in that area, but the idea is that it's a big enough category that she can come at it from different angles. Another pillar of hers could be just the success and results of her clients. I like to put this one in there because it's important to remind you that your clients are absolutely the pathway to more clients. So being able to showcase their transformation, what's happening when they use your products is a big deal. But let's say if for this fitness trainer, she might talk about how she gets to change clients' workouts depending on how well they slept the night before. When they walk into the gym and they're like, I only got 3 hours, like my baby kept me up, or I just couldn't sleep last night, that they're going to make a shift from a boot camp hard workout to a different type of thing because sleep is the most important move. Reasons why I want to use this as an example is that can give her audience an opportunity to go like, wow, how nice would it be to have someone who cares that much about me to shift the workout itself. So that's a part of this. A third pillar for this fitness trainer could be a food and nutrition element. So she may not be somebody who's a nutritionist. She doesn't have the accreditation to be really giving out meal plans, but she does have an advantage over somebody else. So she can talk about how she's built her own diet and meal plan that really makes her feel good in her own workout performance. She can also be able to talk about how she gets a bird's eye view between people who are doing paleo versus keto and how they perform a little bit differently at the gym. A fourth pillar could be her community, where she works, who inspires her. But a fifth pillar here is her brand story. So the fifth pillar is something I'm going to tell you is the mandatory pillar. So for her, as this example, is it could be how she incorporates health in her life, how she might have struggled with body confidence for a while, how in general she feels energized by her clients. So this is the pillar that makes sure that she not only is sharing like what made her decide to do this business, but also continuing to bring it back to herself. So the fifth pillar is my way of telling you that you can share all the tips and tricks. You can share all of your knowledge, but if we don't know the person who's sharing those tips and tricks, we don't really care too much. We may follow the people who are giving us the tips accounts, but we may not feel a trust to start to buy and move with them, or make a step from follower to client. So when I say that the fifth pillar is a mandatory pillar, it's about you sharing not only you as the leader in your business, the behind the scenes, what that might look like, but also the key elements of your story that allowed you to start the business you have, as an essential part to this long-term success plan for your content. So being able to build both of those things in. So this is the content pillars. This is where you can start. If you are somebody who's never posted content for your business, use this as reference. Start here. Understand your ideal client, understand your story, and then be able to reference what I just gave you there for content pillars. But I want to take this a step further. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you also know that I've been talking about how much I am seeing such big shifts on social media platforms, how there's the war of the video platforms. There's just so many things that are happening. But I also want to make sure that I double down on exactly what is moving the needle for my clients when I talk about content pillars for you. So when I'm sharing about content pillars, I want you to know that it is essential for you to be a big part of the content, no matter if you are a one person team or if you're a 5-person team. I've had many brands who will come in and will tell me the quality of our product is what sells. That if it's quality, I actually had a client who was like, our pillars are quality, convenience, and just started naming all of the things specific to the product alone. And a large portion of what we worked through is to bring the human element back into the business. How, like, yes, I love that it's a convenient quality product, but how does it make my life better today? How does it make your life better today? Why do you care so much about this stuff? So there was so many, like it was such a surface level way of looking at what a product can actually do for someone in their life. So this is exactly why I want to give you another way of looking at content pillars. Or if you've been doing something similar to what I just shared for any of my sprinters and clients from the past, you know that content pillar structure I just gave you works really well. But let's take this a step further and bring it into 2023. So this is where I want you to be thinking about you and your team as a key branding tool, aside from inspiration, entertainment, or and just the information you may be giving out there. So I want to take you down a different type of breakdown when it comes to pillars, taking a wider view to really give more freedom of when you are trying to download content ideas, of how you can use your personal experience as a big part of this. So that being said, I'm going to give you 2 mandatory or 2 recommended pillars, and I'm going to ask you to expand and allow the other 3 pillars to be just topics you want to be sourced for. So let me use myself as an example. These are my current content pillars. So one of my content pillars is content creation and brand marketing. If you've listened to any episodes, this shouldn't be new news to you. I clearly know that I can tell you all about this stuff because I've done this for 50 brands. I've done it for myself. I want you to know every platform. I could create content around this topic 4 days. So I want to have that as one of my pillars, and know that that turns into numerous series or numerous different angles that I want to underneath it. A second pillar of mine would be growth through leadership and sales. So being able to know that personal growth and wealth all come from understanding what kind of leader you are and how you deal with sales, like what really does create sales within your content creation in your business. Again, big category. If you can hear what I'm saying, I want it to feel overarching, but personalized to my brand. I'm not just saying growth for growth's sake. I'm saying growth through these particular things, because that is what I want to be known for, right? The last one is healthy and wealthy entrepreneur living. That health coach aspect to me, the mindset blocks, all of that. I want to make sure that is brought into what I'm known for. So these are my three main categories that if someone were to say, oh, you should go to Jamie for these topics, I've done my duty. I'll also have a big old smile on my face and go like, I did the damn thing. And I love that people trust me for these topics. So that is something that, like, just allowing yourself to be like, okay, these are the topics I want people to come to me for. Now, a fourth pillar here would be the brand story. So still sticking with what motivated me to do my business, to be able to share my own personal stories, as well as my client stories of how I got to apply the lessons from my life to them. All of that is a part of that fourth pillar, making sure that I'm hitting upon my brand story on a regular basis. And then the fifth pillar, which is new to anyone who's been listening, is that lifestyle pillar. So a lifestyle pillar has two really key places, and I'll get into them in just a moment. But saying it here right now, it's being able to show day to day. It's being able to show you in your element. So really hitting on a higher amount of showing more than telling, of being able to allow someone to see you in your energy, and just upping the scale when it comes to the behind the scenes look. So let me just dive a little bit further into this. So those first three pillars that I was mentioning to you, think of them as bigger and easier ways to create pillars for brainstorming. So there's a tendency for anyone who's asking for help with content pillars for somebody to get really granular or to really hyper stress around pillars. They'll be like, I actually need 7 pillars, or I need 10 pillars. And when it comes down to it, you can't create around 10 topics well. But instead of looking at it in a way that you're deciding, okay, I must be able to do all of these things, instead go, what do I want to be known for, and what categories are those? So that is, again, referencing what your ideal client's going to seek you out for, but also putting them in a way that you can create around them all of the time. So not feeling like you have to whittle them down, but honestly allowing just some freedom when it comes to what type of things you share. This other piece that's the new addition in there is the lifestyle pillar. So this is where I want you to think about how, again, you are your business's best influencer. So if you've ever heard of influencer marketing, this is me doubling down for you. This lifestyle pillar is allowing you to know that you are going to sell your product better than anybody else will. So this pillar is about 2 key trust building and long-term growth concepts and data that works really well. So first and foremost is to preach what you practice. So by showing how you use your products in your day-to-day life, how you implement your methods, the things that you share in your services, but showing them in your life is going to allow someone to create an aspiration for you as the person that they want to become, or in general, like a social identity for your clients, that what they're trying to achieve. So by putting yourself in that place, you not only get to share your day-to-day more easily, but also are creating the ultimate outcome for the clients that you want to have. So I call it preach what you practice, for the fact that you are in progress. You are trying these things. You are showing that you are not just another voice that is echoing what everyone else is saying. You're saying, this is how I implement this method that I am telling you that is going to really move the needle for you. So an example here could be me literally giving you the step-by-step process of how I am able to create 30 pieces of content in 2.5 hours. It's also me maybe doing a video, a behind the scenes of what that might look like. So showing the process does not only have to be through video, it can be through carousels, it can be through copy, but knowing the more that we can show is the goal here. So this is also where you can have that freedom to share more personally on your business profile. So one thing that I think people kind of forget is that you can build trust simply by recommending other products or other services in your content. So I will have somebody who goes, I can't mention my favorite yoga studio, or I can't mention my skincare brands that I love because that doesn't fit on my business profile. In reality, if you decide like, oh, I've been loving going to this yoga studio each morning because it makes me just feel good, or this skincare product has been something that I've been loving, and it doesn't have to be a sponsored thing. It doesn't have to be any of these. I'm not telling you to become an influencer who's trying to get sponsored posts. I'm telling you to share some pieces in your life, make some recommendations, because the more I trust you on the small recommendations, I will also trust you on the big ones, which might be your program, which might be your highest ticket product. So thinking about how all of this allows someone to feel that trust coming for them. The second one I've mentioned once before, but I want to hit home on it. You are the niche. So anyone telling you about niching down is giving you a short-term growth prospect, a short-term ability to get followers, but then also feel caged by what you can share because you're going to get less engagement if you decide to deviate from that niche. And I won't lie, I have a bit of a tear running down my face every time I get a new sprinter coming in and they tell me that they run 3 different accounts because each account is a different niche. And then I'm like, how well do you post to this, all 3 accounts? She goes, well, maybe one gets some attention, the next month another one gets some attention. So this is this idea that social media can create freedom. It's not a cage. So know that you are that niche. So the goal here is, or the idea behind it is, that your potential clients or followers become fans of you. They're your tribe. They're the people who want to root you on no matter how your business evolves. And they're ready for everything in between. They're going to celebrate the personal triumphs and the business triumphs with you. They're also going to hold you when you are in a bit of a struggle and you're willing to share in either of those categories as well. So I want you to not feel pigeonholed here. This is the goal. Clients can celebrate you no matter where you're at, but also this is where you're going to be able to build consistent engagement as you shift and change. This is where you're going to have people buying your products even when you're not in a launch, because you're able to share your element, your energy, and not feel like you have to be pushing something specific to make money. I build this with my mastermind clients all the time, and it allows them to just see new income coming in from their low ticket products, and they're going, I didn't even talk about that, but they find fans based off how they post. This can also be easy for more referrals in your business. And most of all, they look forward to simply seeing you in their feed, not for what you give, but of course they still love what you give. The idea is they just look forward to having you in their feed. I know you have creators who you think of like this. I have mostly a lot of TikTok creators, but I've also had Instagram creators that I'm like, oh, what have they posted lately? And I seek them out versus waiting for them to come up in my feed. This is what it means to build that connection simply by sharing your vibe. So this is the difference between the first set of content pillars, that style that I gave you, versus what I just shared here by adding this lifestyle pillar. The difference would be, on one end, oh, I love that account because she gives the best meal prep tips, versus, oh, I love her vibe and her approach, and she also gives really great meal prep tips. Like having more than one reason why they feel good in your presence is what the goal is here. So take this in, take a moment to think about, are your pillars things that you enjoy? Are you creating around them? Are you consistently showing up? Because the ways that you know your pillars aren't working is that you don't want to create around them. You tend to have to push yourself to get to post. That is a true sign that those content pillars are not energizing you. So make that shift. Also, if your pillars aren't right, if you're not getting much engagement from the clients you want to work with. So if you are somebody who has just been sharing off the cuff, but you don't really know how you're creating a pathway for that ideal client, it's time to shift it a little bit. And then, of course, this last one, and I just want to kind of get into it. You should never feel caged by the topics you choose. You should never feel caged by the content pillars that you have for your brand. So as creator CEOs, we are not hamsters on a wheel. I still remember sitting or swiping through TikTok, and there was a live with one of a TikTok creator who was on the verge of tears going, I don't want to talk about this topic anymore, guys. I want to talk about something else, but none of you engage with or like I'm getting no reach on this other stuff. And you could just tell that he was on the verge, and he has millions of followers. But how awful does that feel that you've built millions of followers who you don't believe are going to follow that path? So just knowing that if we can make social media feel like something that gets to be a part of us, we're going to find that we can get to connect with people more, of course, but also that it's a true identity of a personal brand, of a brand who's evolving. If you can have a fan club, no matter what happens, no matter how you want to make a shift. So this is me telling you, pillars are pathways to natural connection to not only the people you want to work with, but yourself. Allowing you to have this simple structure can help you get there. So they should never feel like a cage. You should love wanting to create content around it, and you should be able to see based off of consistently posting that the people that you're wanting as your tribe are coming to you. All right. So let me know how this lands. I think the biggest thing that comes from this is to walk away thinking about how you want to be described. How would you like your content to be described? And start to build those 5 pillars together. If you haven't gotten a chance to do this, did you know I have a membership community? So the content planning sprints, we do this exactly. We build the content pillars together. So if you ever wanted to, tell me about what your pillars are, what you're working through, there's 6 sprints every single month on 3 Wednesdays every month. So we have a morning and afternoon sprint. You can always talk to me or my support sprint lead, Nicolette, who can help you work through these particular topics and be able to feel really strong, free, and ready to build your content pillars together. So I'll make sure to drop that into the chat. I'll even give you a code to get some money off of your first sprint if you've never come. And I would love to get to meet you and let me know if you've decided to listen to this episode. We'll talk soon.